We've got two NBA props I'm very interested in for the upcoming series between the Mavericks and the Celtics. We'll talk a little bit of NHL, go over some WNBA props you should have your eye on, and then we'll go over some parlay pieces. Welcome to Props and Parlays Today. I'm Andy from WagerTalk.com. Let's get into it. So the first series, I guess, that we're going to look at is going to be this Celtics and Mavs series. And if you guys have watched me for a while, you know we're trying to look for these plays that I think we can play every game of the series and then come out ahead. So I don't know if there's a whole lot of value on the big guys with, we'll just go to the points, rebounds, and assists. We'll take a look at the biggest line. I mean, Luka's 49.5. Looks like his injury concerns are behind him. And you know what we're seeing here is he's right around this number every single game. So I'm not sure there's a whole lot of value on that one. Jason Tatum, he was an under machine in the first part of the playoffs, and man, he has absolutely exploded. Now, he got help because he was playing the Pacers, who can't guard anybody, and he did a really nice job closing out the series against Cleveland, who kind of looked like they had given up there a little bit. So I'm not really that interested in some of these points, rebounds, and assist numbers. Kyrie Irving has alternated the last 6 games, so again, no value there. There's 2 of them that have my attention here. And the first one is going to be Daniel Gafford at 7.5 points. We look at his game log here, and he's gone over in 9 out of the last 10 games. But I have his game log here, and there's a couple things that I really like about what I've seen from him starting in the playoffs. So we go back to this Clippers series, and not really that involved. You know, game 1, 14 minutes, 1 of 4 from the field, 9 minutes, 0 of 3 from the field. Now here we have 26 minutes. He plays well. 4 or 5 from the field. Next couple games, 19, 19, and 22. So we see his minutes go up. And we see 1 of 4 from the field, 2 of 4, and 5 of 8. Okay, so we see a little bit of uptrend here. Now look at his minutes in the Oklahoma City series. 27, 27, 20, 23, 25, 19. So we go from 18.2 minutes to averaging 23.5. These field goal numbers attempts go way up. 5 of 12, 4 of 6, 4 of 5, 4 of 7, 4 of 4, and 4 of 7. So we compare the series. He averaged 2.2 makes per game and 4.7 attempts per game. Well, he jumps up to 4.2 makes per game, 6.8 attempts for an average of 11 points per game. And then we see very similar numbers against Minnesota. The minutes are the same. The shot attempts are the same. The makes are the same. The points averaged are the same. So I really like what I've seen from Daniel Gafford here. We know he split minutes with, Derek Lively. We know Kleber's coming back. I'm not sure how much Kleber is going to play, but Daniel Gafford seems to kind of have his role pretty much cemented, and he's going to have a lot of value in this series. The Celtics, is Porzingis going to play 100%? I don't know. Probably not. I wouldn't think he's going to play this full minutes load. And then you got him who may be a little bit hobbled. You got Al Horford, not a huge defensive presence inside. So the lob has worked great for the Mavs. Once Luka gets inside, that lob to Gafford is gone well. That's why you're seeing him shoot 75% from the field against Minnesota. I think those looks are open for him. I think he's a tough matchup for Boston. So I took a look here. I was trying to find a comp of who's played against the Celtics. Kind of like Gafford. The Pacers have nobody kind of similar to Gafford. So I just went back to look at Evan Mobley. And Evan Mobley was able to shoot almost 63% from the field against Boston. He averaged 21.4. Now, obviously, he's going to be playing way more minutes, but he did have success. 33, 19, 17, 21, and 17. So there's a big man inside that had success against the Celtics in the playoffs. And obviously the supporting cast for Dallas is much, much better. They've got guards that'll get Gafford in much better positions to score. So if I'm looking at a prop that I'm thinking about playing for the whole series, it's probably going to be Gafford over his points. The other one that I was somewhat interested in, I mentioned him before, is Kleber. I don't know what his role is going to be. He came back first game against Minnesota, did not hit a 3. He came back in the next game and he did hit a 3. He only played 9 minutes and 13 minutes. So I don't know where his I don't know where his health is, but if he did play the last couple games, he gets you 13 minutes, he gets you 9 minutes. You got to believe this break really helps, guys like him and Porzingis get better. So it's a pretty low price on him just to hit 1 3-pointer. It's only like minus 110. And that's what he does. Like he's out there to hit 3-pointers. When he comes out there, he's not there to be a facilitator. He's there to hit 3-pointers. So I'm wondering how many minutes Kleber gets. And here's the thing: if we take him in game one and he goes over, we're probably jumping immediately up to 1.5 3-pointers. Like if he plays 20 minutes, we're never going to get half a 3-pointer. That would be my guess. Now, if he only plays 10 to 15 minutes and he only hits 1 3-pointer, they probably keep the number at half a 3-pointer and they add some juice to it. So the decision is: do we want to play Kleber? Do we not? You only need him to hit one. So that's one that kind of jumped out for me. So yeah, I still just think when I look at it, the one that just jumps off the page to me is Gafford. He's done such a good job in the playoffs, and he's been such a sneaky guy from the props betting markets. So that's who I would talk. That's who I would look at. Josh Green. We talk about him. 3-pointers made. He finally didn't hit one against Minnesota, but the streak is amazing. And then, of course, you can look at his assists. Now, these are juicy, minus 185s. And what's his 3-pointer? Minus 130 is not too bad. So, Josh Green, lay the juice if you want on just him to get an assist or just get a 3-pointer. So, that's who I like in the NBA. We can jump to the NHL here. Before we do that, real quick, guys, if you could, please hit the like button, leave us a comment, tell us how your weekend went, tell us what you guys got on track for some of these props that are coming up in NHL and NBA. Always good to hear from you guys. Always love hearing the positive vibes and how things are going. So go ahead and leave us a comment. We are in the dog days of summer, as I call it, from the props betting market, and for me, I always continue to say it's a great time of year to bet. I love this time of year. We've got some sports that most people don't pay attention to, but for me, it's right in my wheelhouse. We've got golf. We've got CFL starting this week. We'll talk about CFL here in just a bit and how we can add to your bankroll using that. We've got a Formula One race this week, and we've got WNBA that is continually adding to the bankroll. So if you guys could please, if you're enjoying the content, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that now. And also leave me a comment. Always like keeping in touch with all you guys. I love seeing the comments. It just feels like a much better, tight-knit community. We're all on the same page. So go ahead and do that if you guys could, please. Really appreciate it. And I'll tell you about a 5% play coming up here in just a bit. Let's talk about NHL. I don't have much on NHL. Volume has been very low throughout the playoffs. So the way I do props, it's just set up better for regular season for the NHL in particular. So NBA record in the playoffs is okay, but definitely a little bit better in the regular season. So the only you get a series. What do we expect from these two teams? I don't know. I would lean some unders, but the one shots on goal that jumps out a little bit is Tarasenko. He's gone over in 4 straight, but I don't know how much value there is in that. I feel like I'm reaching for these. I will say it's minus 175, but the Sam Reinhart 3.5 shots on goal. He went over here. Let me pull up and so you can see exactly the history of this. So they had 2.5 shots on goal on Reinhart. As you can see, just a slew of over. It was just cash, 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 cash. So then what happens is, and what do we always say? As soon as the books make this move up, you just go the other way. And sure enough, that's what's happened. Like the guy's gone under in 8 out of 10 games. It's minus 175, but Florida does a good job with shots on goal, but Edmonton's been good at not allowing shots on goal. So I don't know if there's much juice to squeeze out of that one, but shots on goal, I can't really find a whole lot to recommend. Points, Bouchard is the only one that's consistently been putting up shots. He's gone over an 8 out of 10. He's minus 160. Unfortunately, I did not see Evander Kane have a line to not have a point. That was the one I was looking at, and the books beat me to it. So you can't even get that. And all these other ones, if you're like me and I love betting guys to not have a point, they just price us out of the market. Minus 195, 298, 238. So just very, very expensive. I even looked at, there is one that Potentially could be interesting. Bouchard over block shots. He's going over here, but again, minus 200. So the books are all over these. I looked at the saves. I thought the saves might be an interesting category. Skinner's been playing great, 27 and a half. I looked at taking the under because he's been an under machine, just because the Oilers have not allowed a whole lot of shots on goal. But I thought Dallas was tentative with shooting the puck. They just, for whatever reason, they wouldn't shoot it, and Florida doesn't have that. That Florida's going to be shooting way more than Dallas, I think. So, couldn't find any value there. So honestly, the NHL maybe just a pass. I gotta say, if you're looking at anything to play, it's this Reinhardt under 3.5 shots on goal, just because he hasn't been getting there. So, but that's about it for NHL. I really can't find a whole lot of value. As you guys know, like whole goal is to the whole goal is to try and build the bankroll and give out winning plays. Some weeks we have a ton of plays. This week I may only have 4 plays total. But that's like it's perfect. I think people think you have to put 90 plays out there in order to turn a profit. Couldn't be farther from the truth. So we can move to the WNBA here. A couple of plays I think you should look at. We can start with Elizabeth Williams from the Chicago Sky. She's been really good this year. The Sky have not been good, but they're getting a little better. And you can see she went over for the first 6 games, had a terrible game against Indiana. So I looked her up to see what happened here in that Indiana game, and she only played 22 minutes. She got in foul trouble. I think it was just a bad game for her. So she's had plenty of time to rest. That game was on Saturday, so we had Sunday and Monday off. And we look at like her I couldn't find any injuries updates for her. So we look at what happened before this this game here on Saturday. And, she's averaging 31, 29, 37, 28, 32, and 34 minutes. And her points are really good, 17, 12, 10, 9, 12, 12. And what's happening here is she's getting shots close to the rim. Uh, and she's shooting a high percentage. Just a bad game. I mean, she's been shooting the ball a lot and shooting it well, and I think she just had an off night. So this might be a really good time to come back and take her over this one. It's not a great matchup. I'll be the first to admit that, but I don't know. Like some of the good defensive teams in the WNBA, yeah, they're great on defense, but they're all very, very close together. Like the worst defensive team and the best defensive team, it's not as drastic in some other sports. So some of the defensive ratings I think they might be a little bit overblown here. I'm going to keep researching this one because the under minus 135 is a little concerning. I'm not sure why. I need to find if there is some kind of injury or minutes restriction or something. But that was one that jumped out to me. And then last, so Brianna Stewart's been an under machine, and I think we keep riding it. So she's gone over twice this season, both of them against Indiana, bad defensive team. And then you just look a slew of under 16, 18, 20, 13, 18, and 13. So we can look at what's going on here with her. So she only played 24 minutes against Indiana because it was a blowout. But even then, 5 of 11 from the field. And you look at the games that she's playing 30 plus minutes. She's shooting 34% from the field. That's terrible. She's she's 4 of 13, 4 of 10, 8 of 18, 5 of 12. And you look at the 3-point shots. The 3-point shooting has been terrible. 1 of 4, 0 of 4, 0 of 2. So there's 1 for 10 right there. Then 1 of 8. So now you're 2 of 18, 2 of 6, like 4 of 12, like 0 for 6. Her 3-point shooting is what's been killing this. So I guess one thing we could do is kind of look and see what her her averages. So in 2024 she's averaging 18.9%. That's pretty bad. She's normally around 35, 37, 33%. So she's off to a terrible start. So we I think for now you just kind of ride it, and until she proves that she can start consistently making 3-point shots. Maybe this is a bad year. Maybe this is just a bad like half to the year. But until she starts showing that she can make 3-point shots, I think I mean, look at this. This is wild for Stewart. Her over 3.5 pointers is 1.5, and it's minus 200 to the under. So it's just not happening. So Brianna Stewart's an under machine. I would just focus on the points. I guess you could look at points, rebounds, and assists, but for me, I'm going to stay with the points as long as they leave this at 20.5. So there are some props that you guys can look at. None of these are client plays yet that I've talked about. So the client play that we do have up is the 5% play. I talked about this last week, and I talked about this when we were doing our UFC MMA show. This is the time of year where I'm going to have like one big play of the week, sprinkle in a few others. It's not a big play. Like, I don't want you guys to like go crazy, but our like most confident play of the week. Last week it was a cross sport parlay, cashed easily, and we've got another one up. This one's a 5% play. Absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite cross sport parlays we've done this year. And that's how we're kind of attacking this with the bankroll, just adding a few units with some really, really high win rate probability plays. And I know that sounds like silly, like, well, why wouldn't you put, high win probability plays up every single day? Well, we do. We had an okay month, except for the last 2 days of the month in May. I completely slipped up in golf, and I'll go over that, what happened. Everything else was pretty good in May, and I'm more focusing on the cross sport parlays because these have been fantastic. We're 14-6 in the last 20 of those. So when I go back and I look at all of our plays, what's working, what's not working, I just all roads lead to these cross sport parlays. And when we pick like our best one of the week, this one just hits week in and week out. So it's a 5% play. It's up now at wagertalk.com. Yesterday, I was a complete pass on plays. Today, I will be a complete pass on plays. We'll look at golf. But yeah, we're going to take a few days off for client plays and just focus on these plays and a couple of other parlays. So it's a great time to grab that 5% play. Don't force any MLB plays if you haven't been looking at MLB. MLB just looks like a really tough year. I only know of a few people that are doing really well, so I'm staying away from that sport. But the cross sport parlays, those are my bread and butter. Myself, Corbin, Jim, we focus on those, and we've got a 5% dialed in on this week. So let's take a quick look here at some potential parlay plays, parlay pieces. Sorry. Here, let's go to NBA. I thought I just don't want to get in the way of the Dallas Mavericks. So let's take a look here at Dallas. I like this plus 2.5 games at minus 250. I think Dallas is a live dog for sure. I think this is a tough matchup. I think it's a tough matchup for both teams. And right now, Luka's the best player in the series. So can he get a couple games? Yeah, I think so. So I really like the Mavericks plus 2.5 games. We'll take a look at the French Open. I mean, listen, Sabalenka, Swiatek just did it again. Sabalenka, I, Swiatek, Sabalenka plus the Oilers over 1.5 goals has just been a bankroll builder. It's been fantastic. I have not been able to put those in on WagerTalk because not everyone has that team total for the Oilers, but it's just rinse and repeat. Those plays have been great for bankroll. So what do we have? We got Sabalenka minus 425. Absolutely, that's a parlay piece. Rybakina has been rolling. I'm not sold on this minus 700. There's not a whole lot of value there. I know Swiatek's been creaming everybody, but Coco Gauff is a pretty tough matchup here. French Open here. Carlos Alcaraz, I believe I read that Tsitsipas has never beaten him, so minus 450 might work. This injury to Djokovic, if you haven't been following, I don't know how much to make of it, but boy, a lot of people are believing in it because Casper Ruud's down to minus 130. I saw something like, well, he may not even play. Is that a smokescreen? But if his knee really is hurt, this could be just a great play. So I might have to look at that a little bit more. But I know money's coming in on it. I just don't want to get hoodwinked by Djokovic, who was, I don't want to say lying about it, but some of these injuries are a little bit tough to come by. Let's see. We also have CFL. I'm treading a little bit lightly this week. Week 1 in CFL. I do love the Blue Bombers as a money line parlay piece over the Alouettes. Alouettes won the Grey Cup. Blue Bombers, by all metrics, seem to have the best team to start the season. Quarterback ranking is number one. Running back ranking is number one. They should just be firing on all cylinders. The Blue Bombers are probably going to be the best money line parlay piece of the season. I would go down and look at the BC Lions over the Toronto Argonauts. If you guys followed all of our plays last year, the Argonauts money line was a fantastic parlay piece. Their quarterback has been suspended for the first part of the season, and they do not have depth. When Chad Kelly didn't play last year, they were pretty bad. So the Argonauts, I don't know. They've got a pretty good supporting cast, but you guys know if your quarterback is subpar, it is tough. And especially in the CFL, you got that long field. You've only got 3 downs. You can't afford too many mistakes. They may have trouble moving the ball. So that would be one that I'd be looking at. And then the Ottawa Red Blacks, they don't play this week. I'm hoping that that's going to be the fade of the year, is fading Ottawa. So we get some of these good teams facing Ottawa, and you get the Blue Bombers facing, I don't know, anybody. I think the Blue Bombers as a parlay piece could be really good. Let's see. I don't think we have any parlay pieces here yet in the Premier Lacrosse. I'll let Dan talk about that one. The Atlas did look great last week, and the Outlaws may be a little bit of a fade. They're young team. Their offense is really sputtering, and they don't get a lot of shots off, and their goalie is really bad. So, actually, I may just talk myself into this fading the Denver Outlaws because they're not very good. It is a Formula One week. So if we're looking here, you could absolutely look at Ferrari minus 300, double top 6. Canadian Grand Prix. So listen, the best teams are going to shine through. I just still can't get my head around Sergio Perez. He frustrates me. So yeah, you're looking at Mercedes, McLaren, and Ferrari double top 10. You absolutely could do that. As far as the individuals to finish inside like the top 6, the top 10, I feel like these have just been blown completely out of, like minus 750s on these. So yeah, top 4 finish. Yeah, you could look at Lando minus 350. If you only want some, it should be the standard Verstappen, Leclerc, and Norris. Those seem to be the guys that have separated themselves. But I don't know. Signs might have some value. But if I'm looking at anything, it's probably the double top 10s on the manufacturers. So we have a golf tournament that is up. We don't have the lines out yet, so I'll talk about some of those tomorrow. It's the Memorial. Great course and a great tournament to bet on. So there should be some money-making opportunities there. But for now, grab that 5% play if you haven't. Lock that thing in, and let's get the best lines. Also, hit the like button and leave us a comment. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Don't be a stranger. Like I said, follow me on Twitter @BumpSports. Or if you just want to send me an email, it says hi. Just it's bumprunsports@gmail. I always love connecting with you guys and seeing what's going on. So Twitter is @BumpSports, and we will see everyone tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Good luck on all your bets, and we'll see everyone tomorrow on Props and Parlays Today.